doing good.
And we are live here in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the StageNet Center for our quarterfinal match in today's gold bracket play of the Oklahoma Regional Volleyball Association's championship tournament. I will be posting the link on my Facebook for anyone who wants to follow the YouTube link. They can follow it there to the YouTube page against the OKCharge 16 American YouTube page. Oh, sorry. Let me make sure my stream is live on YouTube. I feel like all my videos are crickets. That's very cricket. Let me see if I can fix that cricketness here. Now raise it up. And that should be good. Let's see. You see the blue corners? Looks excellent. Okay. I probably should pay more attention to this, make sure nothing gets to my camera. Do we know who won the coin toss? Ah. And we're at the pregame warm-up for this quarterfinal match in the gold bracket play today here in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Oklahoma Regional Volleyball Association's championship tournament. We're at the StageNet Center. Has a giant golden driller out front. No, you're fine. And this will be OKCharge 16 American versus Peak 16-2. After this one, we will if we win this one, we will advance to the semifinals and then to the finals. We are hoping for wins all across the board. So keep on cheering at home, and you'll give us the energy needed to power through these next few sets. and on our way to victory. Nice hit. A little set and hitting practice right here. A little warm up for our team. To the power some of these hits have and generate. After the basic warm up, they will go with the serving warm up, and then the other team warms up, I do believe. Which means we may be setting or serving first, but I'm not 100% sure. I did miss the point off. All right, now in the serving practice, let me stand up and guard my camera. Already. This is the most dangerous part of any volleyball game, the beginning free warm up and the serving volleyball back and forth indiscriminately. Anyone who's been to a volleyball match knows this is probably the most dangerous part. Keep your eyes off the court. You will be hitting the head. And now the other team's coming up to the line are coming out to do their pregame warm up. A little bit of setting and hitting warm up for them, and then the serving warm up. I wasn't paying attention. That went over me. I have no idea. This warm-up time is always a good time to assess the other team's hitters and setters. It gives our team a good chance to take a look at them, see who the power hitters are on the other team, and what kind of consistency they have with the attack. Ooh. Didn't know if you seen it right there. Still on the side. Got hit when they weren't paying attention.
May I have your attention? Please join us in congratulating your 2026 OKRVA Regional Championship 14 Boys Club Gold first place winners, Kaizen Boys 14 Black. Your 14 Boys Club Division MVP is Boyd Gowan.
And that will conclude the pregame warm-up. The team will come together now and get ready to touch hands, which will officially start this match. And the down rep will verify rosters. Our team lined up ready to touch the hands of the other team and a show of sportsmanship before this match starts. There they go. Now, some of these players on the other team were actually on a team we were on last year, so we do know some of these players too from the other team. How they looking? They're looking pretty good so far. I think it's going to be a pretty good match. I know some of the ones on the other team were on our team last year, so we played with some of them, so I know they got good players. So one of those types of matches.
May I
Hey,
have your
it's always
attention?
good. It makes it going to be better.
Please join us in congratulating your
Number 10, Lily
2026
Wilcox serving it up
OKRVA
first as we
Regional
get this match
Championship
started. There's that
14
first serve.
Boys Club runner-up,
And the attack with the other team on the coach, actually. It was wide and hit our coach. Charge picks up that first point. Will come back up to the line to serve it up. There's number 10 right there. Wants to get back up the line to serve it up. Over the net. Peak gets underneath it. Goes to the attack. This time they find the floor in the middle of Charge territory. Scores now 1-1. All tied up as Charge sets back up to serve receive. Peak 16-2 back up in the line to serve it up. Charge gets underneath it. Gets it to the libero. Sets to the outside. The attack cross court off the top of the table. Number 7, Braylon Smith, has it dropped inside the Peak territory. Picking us up a point right there. And we'll come back up to the line to serve it up. Number 3 subs in, are out, and number 8 subs in. That's Kale. Valdez coming to the line to serve it up next to your charge. 16 American team. Number 8 putting it in to serve. And the other team underneath it. Peak sets up, goes for an outside attack, but it falls long into the next court. Charge picks up the point right there. And we'll come back into the line to serve it once again. That's Kale Valdez back up to the line. Number 8 serving it up for your charge. 16 American team as we lead by 2 early in this first set. And there's the serve. The team underneath it. Bumping it up to their outside hitter. And the attack goes to the backcourt, this time finding the floor. Charge unable to dive underneath it. Peak will put another point on the board and come back into the line. Scores 2. Charge leading by just 1 point. Peak coming back into the line and the score is 3-2. Charge in the lead by 1. There's the serve. Charge goes to the right side. This time the attack into Peak territory. Peak gets underneath it and goes to their own right side attack. Cross court to the back corner. They find that floor in Charge territory. Peak can put another point on the board. And Charge will set back up to serve receive. Score tied up now, 3-3 early in this first set. This is the quarterfinals, my bad. Quarterfinals match for our gold bracket play. And here comes Peak serving it up. The libero pops it up to the setter. Setter goes to the right side in the attack. Down the line of the net, number 7, Braylon Smith picking up another point as she tips it down the net line and finds the floor in Peak territory. Number 5, Charlotte Richards now coming to the line to serve it up for your charge team. It's number 1 subs in the front row. And there's the serve off the top of the tape. Peak's able to get underneath it, though, and go for their own attack, this time breaking the block and finding the floor in Charge territory. Peak puts another point on the board, keeping it all tied up early on here. Score is 4-4. As Peak steps back up the line to serve it up, and Charge back on the serve receive. And there's the serve. Charge pops it up in the air to the setter. Setter goes to the middle, the tip of the net. They block it down, and Charge pushes it back over the net. Once again, Peak goes to the right side attack down the line, and this time they pick up a point as it goes off the hand of Charge and out of bounds. Peak taking the lead right there with the attack down the line. Score is now 4-5. Charge trails by 1 as Peak steps back up to the line to serve it up. Charge set up the serve receive. They put it over the net. Charge tries to get underneath it and unsuccessful. Peak puts another point on the board and will come back up to the line. Score is now 4-6. Charge trails by 2 as we step back up to serve receive. Woo! And another serve unsuccessful. Charge unsuccessful on trying to get underneath it. Peak will put another point on the board and come back into the line. Scores now 4-7. Charge trails by 3 points as we once again step back up to serve receive. Again, scores now 4-7. Charge trailing by 3 as we step back up to serve receive. And there's the serve, putting it over the net. Charge pops it up to the setter. Setter to the outside. The outside tips it over the net and picks up the point. That's number 2, Lillian Cummings, putting a point on the board with the tip that finds the floor in Peak territory. Number 7 is now going to sub out, and number 9 come in. Number 9 is coming to the line to serve it up as Charge trails by just 2 points now. Scores 5-7. Number 9, Bethany Whitey serving it up. There's the serve, putting it over the net. Nope. Fouls long, I guess. They called it out. I felt like it hit the line. I can't see from here, though. So, Peak puts another point on the board off the serve error by Charge. Scores now 5-8.
May I have your attention?
And there's another serve by Peak. Charge underneath it. Bumps it over to the right side, or the outside of the attack. Unsuccessful. It doesn't make those the net. Peak puts another point on the board and will come back into the line. Scores 5-9. Charge trails by 4 now as we once again set up to serve receive. And there's the serve. Charge pops it up high in the air, keeping it alive. They get it back over, and over the net it goes. Peak right there to receive it. Sets up. Goes for an attack. The back row keeps it up. Goes to the right side of the attack, unsuccessful. And Peak puts another point on the board as Charge knocks it out of bounds. Scores now 5-10. Charge trails by 5 points as he steps back up to serve receive. There's the serve. Out of bounds. Charge with a good eye on that one. Lets it fly long and picks up the point on the service error. Charge will step back up to the line to serve it up. As number 3 subs in for number 8 going out. And number 2, Lillian Cummings at the line to serve it up. Again, Charge trailing by 4 points. Scores 6-10. Number 2 puts it over the net. They set it up, go for the attack, blocked at the net back into Peak territory. Peak once again going for another attack. This time they push it long. It goes over the net and falls out of bounds. Charge puts another point on the board and will come back into the line. Score 7-10. Charge just trailing by 3 now. It's number 2, Lillian Cummings, steps back into the line to serve it up. There's the serve over into Peak territory. Peak sets up the outside attack, blocked back to their side. That's the number 1, Sam Chaffin with that block, putting a point on the board for your Charge team. Scores now 8-10. Charge just trails by 2 as once again we set up to serve it up. Number 2, Lillian Cummings puts it into play. The other team sets up, goes for an attack from their right side. Charge right there to receive it. Tips it over in 2 touches. And Peak going for an outside attack now. Keeping it up high to the barrel. Then over to the outside. The attack. Charge able to bump it back over the net with a nice dig. But Peak right there to receive it. Once again, the attack. This time, Charge unable to get underneath that attack. And Peak picks up another point and will come back up to the line to serve it up. Of course, 8-11. Charge once again trailing by 3 as we set back up to serve receive. Both match so far. A lot of back and forth. Peak back up at the line to serve it. Charge just trailing by 3. There's the serve. Back foot pops it up high in the air. They bumped it up forward and over the net into Peak territory. Peak once again sets up cross court for attack. And the attack was long, falling out of bounds. Charge will put another point on the board right there and come back up to the line to serve it once again. Scores 9-11. Charge just trailing by 2. As number 4 will come to the line to serve it up now, subbing in for number 1, subbing out. And number 4, that's Addison Nan serving it up, putting it over to the middle of Peak territory. Peak goes over to an outside attack, blocked at the net, back to their side. Peak struggles and knocks it out of bounds. Charge puts another point on the board with a block from number 5, Charlotte Richards. Number 4 coming back into the line to serve it up once again. As Charge now only trails by 1 point. There's the serve right to the middle of Peak territory. Peak sets up to their outside. The attack cross court. The libero to the center. Center to the right back. The attack puts it over the net. Peak right there to receive it, though. Going for another attack. We block it down. Number 3 with an amazing block at the net. That's Maddie Factor. Picking up the point right there. Tying it up. Scores now 11-11 as number 4 will take the line to serve it up. That's Addison Mann serving it up once again as we're all tied up in this first set of this quarterfinal match. There's the serve. Yes, again, Pete gets underneath it, sets it up this time to the middle. Charge is able to pop it up in the air, keeping it alive. Going to the outside, the attack. Pulled off the block, but Charge unable to get back underneath it. Didn't know if it was falling in and out, and they let it. They unable to get underneath it, actually. Scores now 11-12. Charge once again trailing by 1 as we step back up to serve receive, and Pete steps back up to the line to serve it up. Here's the serve right there. Charge gets underneath it, bumps it over to the outside. The attack puts it over the net back into Peak territory. Peak sets up to their outside. The attack over the net. Charge right there to bump it up. But Charge unable to get it back under control and get it back over the net. Peak puts another point on the board, and Charge trails by 2 now. Scores 11-13 as Charge steps back up to serve receive. There's the serve. Out! And it hit one of my cameras, but it's all right. It's all right. Could have been worse. All right, there we go. And Charge pushes that point as it goes out of bounds. Now, number 10, Lily Wilcox, serving it up, puts it over the net. They get it back over to Charge territory. Charge steps up to the right side. The attack puts it over. Charge picking up a point right there with a kill from number 7, Braylon Smith, and assist from number 10. At number 10, Lily Wilcox will come back up the line to serve it once again as we're all tied up 13-13. And they get it back over the net quickly, and a lot of confusion, a lot of jousting. The attack puts it back in the Peak territory. Peak bumps it up high, and it goes wide and out of bounds. Charge takes the lead right there. Peak knocks it out of bounds with their bump set. I think that was. I'm not even sure what was going on. Scores now 14-13. Charge in the lead by 1 point. It's number 10, Lily Wilcox, back at the line. There's the serve. Another good low serve. Peak gets it back into the net. We tip it down, but we get an overcharge right there to receive it. Bumps it over to the outside. And overreach is called on Peak, and Charge picks up the point. Scores now 15-13. Is number 10, Lily Wilcox, back into the line to serve it once again. Charge leading by 2 points. Here's the serve, putting it over the net, right off the top of the tape. Peak gets underneath it, goes for a right side attack. Charge picks it up cross court and bumps it over to our own outside hitter. Once again, they're going to go for their outside hitter this time. Charge right there to receive it, bumping it over to our right side. Cross court attack, puts it back into Peak territory. Peak struggles a little bit, going for their own attack to the mid backcourt. But Charge gets it to the center quickly and gets it. Oh, the block of the net knocks it back into Charge territory from the attack by Charge. Scores now 15-14 as Peak will step back up to the line to serve it up, and Charge sets up the serve receive. Again, Charge just leading by 1 point as Peak steps up to the line. There's the serve. Charge underneath it. Sets up, goes to the kill, block off the hands. Did they keep it alive? They did not. Charge picks up that point with the. I didn't even see who killed it. I didn't even see who killed it. It was so quick. It happened real fast. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. It's Peak. Peak knocked it out, so Charge got the point.
It was a white, yeah.
Yeah. All right, number 8, Kale coming back up to the line to serve it up as number 2 subs in the front row with number 6 coming out. And that's Kale Valdeo serving it up for your Charge. 6 American team as we lead by 2 points. Peak gets underneath it, goes over to the outside. The attack puts it over the net. Our libero to the center to the outside. The tip over the block. They get it back over to Charge territory with a nice recovery. And Charge goes to the right side this time with a stronger attack, but they block it down. Charge tips it over this time. Peak able to keep it alive, knocking it over our block. The bump over to the right side again. And this time, picking up the point with the kill for number 7, Braylon Smith. As she knocks it over, the other team cannot get it back up. Number 8 coming back up the line to serve it up. That's Kale Valdeo serving it up as we lead by 3. There's the serve, putting it over the net. They set up over to their right side. The attack pops off the hands of Charge. They're able to get it to the center. Pushes it over with a center dump. Number 10 with the point right there. That's Lily Wilcox putting it over the net with a push. Picking up that point. Peak calling a timeout on the court. Scores now 18-14 as we go into this timeout with Charge leading by 4 points in this first set. Both teams in their huddles after the timeout concludes. Charge to step back up to the line to serve it up. And number 8, Kale Valdios will be the one at the line. Peak coming back out of the court. Now Charge coming back out of the court. And here we are. There's the whistle from the upper ref as we get back into this after that timeout is concluded. Number 8 putting it back into play right into the middle of Peak territory. Peak steps up to the right side of the attack. Blocked at the net. Oh! And Charge trying to save it as it comes back over the net. Knocks it out of bounds. Peak picks up a point right there and will come back up to the line to serve it. As Charge still in the lead by 3 points. Scores 18-15. Peak right there to receive it, or to serve it up. There's the serve. Charge picks it up in the backcourt, bumps it back over, and over the net it goes in the Peak territory. Peak right there, stepping up to their outside. The attack puts it up high. We knock it back over quickly. They knock it back over quickly. Going for the attack off the outside. There it is. Or from the right side, actually. Peak right there, bumping it back over the Charge territory. Charge to the center. Center to the middle to the bump over. Peak right there once again. Going to their right side attack, which breaks through our block and finds the floor. Peak puts the point on the board right there. Scores now 18-16. Charge leading by 2 as we set back up to serve receive. There's the serve. Charge pops it high in the air, bumps it back up to the outside. We knock it over the net. They find the corner in the back of Peak territory. That's Lillian Cummings picking up the point right. Lillian Cummings picking up the point right there. Number 5 will be coming to the line to serve it up next. As the score is 19-16. And again, that's Charlotte Richards serving it up. Number 5, putting it into play. Peak right there, going to their outside attacker. Charge pops it up high, though. Getting to the center and going to their own outside attacker. Cross-court attack is strong, but Peak's right there to pick it back up. Tipping it over a block on their outside. Charge right there to receive. Going for the right side attack to the backcourt, but Peak keeps it alive. Knocking it cross-court to the right side. Charge unable to get underneath it. And Peak puts another point on the board. Scores now 19-17. Charge still in the lead by 2 as we set up to serve receive. And Peak back at the line. Serving it up right there. Charge backcourt. Unable to get underneath it. And Peak picks another point. Scores now 19-18. Charge just leading by 1 as we set back up to serve receive. Hoping to pick up a point right here and regain that serve. There's the serve for Peak. Charges backcourt this time. Gets it to the center. Center to the right side. The attack down the line. Peak's able to pop it up in the air and get control. They tip it at the net, but Charge blocks it back down to their territory. Peak once again going for the attack at the coach once again, but Charge picks up the point because you can't attack the coach. That's wide and out of bounds. Number 7 now serving it up. That's Braylon Smith putting it up over the net. There's the attack from Peak. Charge able to get underneath it. Sets it over to the outside. The attack strong. Breaks the block. Number 2, Lillian Cummings with that kill. That picked up the point. And the assist by number 10. Now, number 7, Braylon Smith putting back up the line to serve it once again. Scores 21-18 as the serve goes over but long. Substitution now. Number 7 going out. Number 9 coming in the back row. Also, number 5 subs out for number 4 coming in the back row. That already happened, actually. And ball serve. Charge getting underneath it, bumping it up. Going for the attack, putting it back over into. Charge unable to pick it up in the backcourt, and Peak picks up a point right there. Scores 21-20. Charge leading by just 1 point. As Peak steps back into the line to serve it up. There's the serve. Charge underneath it. Bumps it over to the outside. The attack puts it back over the net. Peak right there to push it back over in one touch. Charge again going to the outside. The tip over the block with the roll shot. Peak going for their own right side attack. Charge digs it up in the back with a nice dig. We bump it back over to Peak territory. Once again, Peak going for an attack. This time a slide attack, but we cannot dig it off the net. Peak tying it up right there with an attack that broke through the block. Timeout. Charge on the court. Both teams going to their huddles after the timeout concludes. Charge will be up out there to serve receive while Peak steps up to the line to serve it up. Both teams coming back out of the court now. Charge set up to serve receive while Peak comes into the line to serve it up. And we are all tied up 21-21 as we approach the end of this first set and this quarterfinals match. There's the serve. There's the whistle for the serve. There's the serve. Backcourt pops it up high. They bump it up over to the outside. We bump it over the net with the Mother Romero. Peak going for their own attack. This time, Charge on able to get underneath it on the floor, and Peak takes the lead right there with the kill. Score 21-22. Charge now trailing by 1 point as we set back up to serve the C's. There's the serve, and it's long and out of bounds. Charge to pick up a point on the service error by Peak. Charge will step back up the line to serve it up. Number 8, Stubble, out, and number 3, stepping in the front row, and number 2, Lillian Cummings, up to the line in the back. Here's the serve by number 2, putting it over the net. Peak steps up to the right side of the attack, off the block. Charge unable to get underneath it. Try for the pancake, but not successful. Peak picks up a point right there, once again taking the lead. Scores 22-23. Charge trailing by 1 point as we step back up to serve the Peak. There's the serve, long and out of bounds. Charge once again picking up a point and coming back into the line. Scores 23-23, all tied up as number 4 comes up to the line to serve it up. That's Addison Mann serving it up as we put it into play in the Peak territory. Peak struggles a little bit. They bump it back over the net, though. The libero to the center. Center to the middle. In the middle with the kill. They knock it back over quickly. We push it back to their territory. Peak's going for a bump to the backcourt. Charge able to get it to the center. Center to the outside. The attack puts it on the floor in Peak territory. That's number 3, Maddie Factor with the kill that found the floor in the middle, or in Peak territory. Number 4 coming back into the line to serve it up. That's Addison Mann. Scores 24-23 as we put it back into play. Charge really only 1 point to close out this first set. There's the attack by Peak. Charge bumps it over to the outside. The tip over the block. Picks up the point. That's a kill by number 3, Maddie Factor, with an assist by number 4, Addison Mann. That will close out the first set 25 to 23. Charge winning that first set by 2 points. Very close first set in this quarterfinal match. I keep wanting to call it semifinal. I'm ready to make it to that next one. Again, we got some highlights for some standout players right from the screen, or some stats for some standout players here with assists, kills. Coming back out on the court is the Charge 16 American team as we won the first set, so it's 1-0. Again, this is a regular match. You got to win. It's going to be 2 sets to 25. If you split with one team winning one and one team winning the other, we'll go to the third set. But if you can win it in 2, that's what we're hoping for. And the down reps verifying the roster. Liberos are coming in. And both teams are about ready to get back into this match. And second set about to start. Charge will be served receiving first as Pete comes up to the line. There they are at the line. And here's the whistle from the up ref. There's the serve. Backcourt picks it up to the center. Center to the outside. A good start As Peak tries to knock it down, we jump up and block it. No? Oh, they're calling a net? Oh, okay. They called a net on charge, the net foul. So Peak picks up the first point of the second set and come back up to the line. But hold on, we're going to have a the captain's having a discussion with the upper ref. Okay. See if they have any changes. All right, here we are, ready to go. Peak puts it back over the net, serve it up. Charge. Oh no, Charge called with a net foul again, 2 in a row. Peak will pick up another point, come back up the line. The Charge steps back up to serve receive early in the second set. Yeah. Score 0-2. Charge yet to put a point on the board. Gets underneath this serve, goes for the attack, puts it over into Peak territory. Peak sets up, goes for the outside attack to the backcourt. Charge pops it up high, bumps it up to the outside. The attack puts it over the net. Peak setting up for their own right side attack. Charge backcourt keeps it off the floor. Gets into the center. Center to the outside. Tip over the block. Once again, they're going for their own right side attack. Charge keeps it alive. Bumps it back up to the outside. The attack this time cooled off the block. And Charge picks up a point with a kill from Matty Factor on the outside. Number 10 is coming to the line to serve it up next for your Charge team. That's Lily Wilcox serving it up for your Charge. 16 American team. Score is 1-2. Charge trailing by 1 point. Oh no, unsuccessful. Peak will pick up a point off the service error by Charge. Charge will set back up to serve receive. Scores 1-3 now. Charge trailing by 2 points. Peak back up at the line to serve it up. There's the serve. Backcourt gets underneath it. Bumps it up. And goes to the attack from the right side. Peak go for attack again. This time it goes out. Charge picks up the point as the attack goes wide and falls out of bounds by Peak. Scores now 2-3. Charge trailing by just 1 point as number 8 subs in for number 3 going out. That's Tails. Valdez up at the line to serve it up for your Charge 16 American team. There's the serve. Number 8 putting it into play in the Peak territory. Peak bumps it up high, going for an outside attack. Down the line, they're able to find the floor and put a point on the board as Charge is unable to dive underneath it. Scores now 2-4. Charge trails by 2 points. And once again, we step back up to service receive. And here's Peak with the serve. They put it over, and it's out. Charge with a good eye, lets it fly long, and picks up a point on the service there. Number 4. That is the man coming up the line to serve it up next for your Charge team as we trail by 1. Score 3-4. They go for the attack at the net, blocked down. Peak once again getting it over for another attack. This time down the line. Charge unable to get underneath it quick enough. And Peak picks up the point off the hands of Charge that goes out of bounds. Peak coming back into the line. Charge trailing by 2 points as we step back up to serve receive. And here's the serve. Charge unable to get underneath it. And Peak puts the point on the board with the serve. Scores now 36. Charge trailing by 3 points. Let's go, Charles. Let's go. Charge is going to pick up a point right here and regain that serve. There's a serve by Peak. Backcourt pops it up high to the center. The center goes to the right side. The attack does not clear the net. Peak puts another point on the board and will come back up to the line. Score 3-7. Charge trails by 4 in this second set. Charge did win the first set. There's a serve by Peak. Charge goes to the outside with a roll shot to the middle of Peak territory. Peak goes for a middle attack. Charge pops it high, bumps it back over the midcourt, and puts it over the net with a bump. Peak once again going for an attack, this time down the line on our right side. We keep it alive and bump it back over the net from the midcourt. Peak once again going for a slide attack this time. Charge is able to dig it up and keep it alive. This one blocked down at the net, but Charge keeps it going, not letting it fall down. Charge gets it back over the net with a kill from number 2. We put it over there to pick up that point. Number 7 comes to the line to serve it up next. There's number 7, Brady Smith. But we're called on a line infraction on the serve. Peak puts a point on the board. Number 7 to a sub out. Number 9 come in. Scores now 4-8. Charge trailing by 4 points once again as Peak back up to the line to serve it up. And here's the serve from Peak 16. And it's long and out of bounds with a good eye by Oklahoma Charge. They let it fly long. Number 2 coming to the line to serve it up now. As number 3 subs in for number 8 going out. Again, it's number 2, Lillian Cummings, serving it up for your Charge. 16 American team. Nice serve right to the midcourt. They're set up, going for the attack, blocked at the net, keeping it in Peak territory. Then we tip it down, number 1 with the tip that picks up the point right there. Scores now 6-8. Charge trailing by 2 as number 2 serves it up once again. This time to the back corner, but it falls long. And Peak picks up a point on the service error by Charge. Scores now 6-9 as Peak steps back into the line to serve it up. Raise the serve. Charge bumps it back over to the outside. The attack puts it over into Peak territory. Peak knocks it too close to the net, and number 3 jumps up and kills it down. That's Maddie Factor with a kill. At the net, that picks up another point for your Charge 16 American team. Number 4 subs out as the Romero can't be in the front row. But number 5 comes in replace. The Blazer up in the front. Number 1, Sam Chaffin serving it up as we trail by 2. Peak goes for an outside right attack, not an outside. Charge bumps it back up to the center, tips it over the net. Peak once again going for an attack, this time to the right side. Charge on him. A lot of back and forth, but we get it back into fair play. Peak right there going for an attack. This time Charge pops it high up in the air and goes to the outside attack, cross court to the back corner. But Peak's able to keep it off the floor. Go for their own attack to the backboard of Charge. Charge center to the right side and push it over the net. Peak right there going again. Charge with a dig. Nice dig. And the attack puts it back into Peak territory. Peak once again going for an attack. Charge unable to get it underneath it, though, as it's knocked out of bounds. Peak putting a point on the board. And we'll come back up to the line to serve it up. Number 4-7 in the back row for number 1 going out. As Peak steps into the line to serve it up. Charge trails by 3. There's the serve. Charge right there. Going for the attack at the net. They block it back to our side. Charge gets it to the center. Center to the right side. The bump puts it back over into Peak territory. Peak once again going for another attack. This time Charge with the barrel to the center. Center to the outside. The outside goes for attack down the line. Peak's knocking it around a little bit, but able to get it back over the net. And off the top of the tip at the net, and it falls down into Charge territory. Charge unable to get underneath it. Peak puts another point on the board. Charge now trails by 4 once again as Peak steps back up to serve the seat. Charge gets underneath that serve, sets it over to the outside. The attack puts it back into Peak territory. Finding the back corner in Charge, Peak territory. Charge number 3, Maddie Factor, put the point on the board with the kill. Number 7 is sub out, or sub in now. Is number 9 subs out in the front row. Now number 10, Lily Wilcox serving it up, putting it over the net. Ace on the serve, finds the floor in the middle of the court in Peak territory. Scores now 9-11. Charge going back into the line to serve it up, and that's going to be number 10 once again. Lily Wilcox serving it up for your Charge, 16 American team, as we trail by just 2 points now. There's the serve, putting it over the net. Peak right there to receive it. Going for the attack, blocked down. Do they keep it alive? They did. But it doesn't matter because another ball came on the court, so we had to stop the play anyways. The Peak will get a chance to serve it up. We almost celebrated too fast, but we was right there. Score is down 9-11. Charge. It's still 9-11, right? Yeah, still 9-11. Number 10, the Wilcox back into the line to serve it once again. After that ball went on the court, and you have to stop the gameplay for safety concerns. There's the third on the attack. Oh no. Charge unable to get underneath it in the backcourt, and Peak put the point on the board. Scores down 9-12. Charge once again trailing by 3 as we set back up to serve receive. And then there's Peak back at the line, and the serve. Charge underneath it in the backcourt. Setting it to the right side. The attack puts it down the line and finds, falls long actually, and Peak puts another point on the board. I didn't think it was out. I don't know. I didn't even think it was out. Peak serving it up once again, charging backcourt to the center. Center to the outside. The attack puts it cross court, but Peak's right there to receive it. Going for their own right side attack. Peak puts it into the backcourt of Charge. Charge gets it up front and bumps it over into Peak territory. Peak once again sets up, this time for an attack, but it falls wide. Oh, and it hit the line judge in the face. Charge puts the board on the board, and the other team knocks it out of bounds. Scores now 10-13. Charge once again trailing by 3 points. Number 3 subs out. Number 8 comes in in the front row. Number 6 subs out. Number 2 comes in. And that's number 8, Kale Valdez serving it up for your Charge. It's the American team. They shake it out of bounds. 8 on the serve by number 8. Number 8 will step back up the line. Scores 11-13. Charge trailing by just 2 points. As number 8 prepares to serve it up once again after hitting an ace on her last serve. There's the serve over the net. Peak underneath it. They go to their right side. They tip it at the net. Blocked down by number 2. That's Lillian Cummings blocking that down, picking up a point for your Charge. 16 American team. Scores now 12-13. What? Or do they not call that a block? Oh, they said net? Okay. So they call it a net. My bad. Let me correct that. Scores actually 11-14. Pete got that last point. Charge going for the attack, but unsuccessful. Pete took another point on the board. Scores now 11-15. Charge trails by 4 once again as we set back up to serve the seed. So in other words, that wasn't a block. It's just we got called for the net infraction. Serve tipped over quickly. Pete struggling. They get it back over to our side. The libero gets into the center. Center to the middle of the attack. Puts it back into Peak's territory. Peak sets up, going for their own attack. Once again, blocked back to this side. This time, they knock it out of bounds. Charge pushes the point. The number 4 coming into the back row. Just serves it up. There's the serve, putting it over the net as we lead by or trail by 3. Oh no, Peak knocking it down and Charge unable to get a hand on it. Peak puts it with a point on the board. Charge now trails by 4 once again. Scores 12-16. That was quick. Peak coming back up the line as they lead by 4. Charge setting up their serve receive. Scores 12-16 right now. Charge open to pick up a point and get back into this. Charge unable to get underneath that serve and goes out of bounds. Scores now 12-17. Charge trails by 5 as we call a timeout on the court. Both teams will go to the huddles after the timeout concludes. Charge will be setting back up the serve receive as Peak comes back up to the line. Peak's back up at the line, preparing to serve it up. as Charge trails by 5 points. Here's the serve. Charge pops it up high in the air, bumps it back up towards midcourt and over the net. Peak right there to receive it, going for their own attack. This time it goes, but it falls just inside the sideline in fair territory. Peak puts the point on the board with an attack that finds the floor in Charge territory. Peak once again stepping up to the line. The Charge now trails by 6 points. And here's the serve by Peak. Charging the barrel to the center. Center to the right side. The attack down the line, but it hits the antenna. And Peak puts another point on the board. And will come back to the line. Timeout once again by OKCharge on the court. Peak in the lead. Scores 19-12. Peak back at the line. Scores 12-19. Charge trailing behind by 7 points. There's the serve. Charge unprepared in the backboard. Peak puts another point on the board. Scores now 12-20. Charge trails by 8 points. As Peak back into the line. Here's the serve, putting it over the net. Charge unable to get underneath it properly, and Peak puts another point on the board. Scores now 12-21. Charge trailing by 9 as number 8 subs out. Number 3 subs in. Scores 12-21 now.
Please join us in congratulating
Peak
your
serve.
2026
Back to the play. Charge pops it up high. The center goes to the right side. The attack puts it over the net. Finds the floor. That's a kill by number 7, Braylon Smith, putting a point on the board with an assist by number 10. Number 7 subs out. Number 9 comes in. That's Bethany Whiting. Scores 13-21.
Your MVP for the 10
trailing by 9 points.
It's Kinley Whiting.
There we go with the serve, putting it over the net. Peak just underneath it. Sets it over to the right side of the attack cross court, unable to pick it up. And Peak puts another point on the board. Scores now 13-22. Charge once again trailing. Goes the serve. Charge pops it up over the net. It goes. Or Charge pops it over the net. That's it. Peak puts another point on the board. The Charge is backcourt, unable to get underneath that. Score is now 13-23. Charge trails by 10. That's Peak back at the line. There's the serve, putting it over the net. Charge pops it to the center. He tips it down quickly. Peak struggles. Can they get it back alive? They do. Charge right there to receive. Unable to get it back over the net, though. Peak puts another point on the board. Nice dig, but not enough to get it back into play. Score is now 13-24. Charge trails by 11. Peak once again serving it up. Charges, gets underneath it, gets into the center. Center to the middle, tips it over, but it falls wide, and that will close out the second set. Peak winning it. Charge unable to come back up. Moving on to the third sets here in this quarterfinal match. We're going to do a coin flip to see who serves it up first. You know, it's 1 set. Charge hoping to pull off a win here and move on to the semifinals. I do believe we won the serve, but I'm not 100% certain. We'll find out here in just a moment. Again, if you're watching at home, this is the quarterfinal match of today's gold bracket play in the Oklahoma Regional Volleyball Association's Championship Tournament here in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the StageNet Center. Both teams coming out, getting ready to start this third set. Third set's only to 15 points. Again, if you're watching at home, start cheering loudly so we get all the energy we need to bring this to victory. Final set, this third set only goes to 15 points. First one to 15 will win the match and move on to the semifinal spot of the gold bracket tournament. And Charles will be serving it up first as number 10, Lily Wilcox, is coming to the line to serve it up. We're looking for our up ref. I believe he went to restroom. There he is. He's coming back. Doesn't happen often, but there it is. I think the down ref didn't even notice the up ref got here. I think he's still looking for him. Not 100% sure what's happening. Again, down ref. Oh, there he is. Now he's paying attention. Up ref about to get the whistle to start this third set. And number 10, Lily Wilcox at the line to serve it up. There's the serve, putting it into play. Pete gets underneath it, goes for the attack, blocked back. A strong start, number 3 and number 5. That's manufactured Charlotte Richards with a block at the net that picks up our first point in this third set. Number 10 coming back over the line to serve it up. Score is 1-0. Charge in the lead. As number 10, Lily Wilcox puts it back into play. Another good serve right to the middle of the court. Pete going for the attack. This time down the right side, or down our right side, and finds the 4 in the backcourt. Peak puts the board on the board right there, tying it up. And Charge will set back up the serve receive. And there's a serve by Peak, putting it over to Charge territory. Charge gets to the center. Center gets up to the outside. The attack down the line of the net. Peak's able to get it back under control, put it back over to our side. We set it back over to the right side this time, tipping it over the block. Peak's able to keep it alive, going for their own right side hit. This right side attack finds the floor in the backcourt of Charge territory unobstructed. And Charge will come back out to serve receive once again as Peak picks up the point. Scores 1-2. Charge trails by 1 point as we once again set up the serve receive. There's the serve, but it's long and out of bounds. Charge taking the point. Tying it back up right there as Peak knocks it long and out of bounds. Number 3 subbing out. Number 8 coming in for your Charge, 6th grade American team. Number 6 also subbed out in the front row, and number 2 came in for her. Again, number 8, Kale Valdeo serving it up for your Charge team, putting it over the net into the middle of the court. Peak goes for a right side attack. This time it finds the floor. Charge unable to dig it up or get near it. Score is now 2-3. Charge trails by 1 once again as Peak steps back up to serve receive. Okay, this is the third and final set of the quarterfinal match. Charge able to watch out for that one, keeping their eye out and watching it go long and out of bounds. Charge with the point on the board by the service error by Peak. Score is now 3-3. Number 5 steps up to the line to serve it up. Number 1 stepping into the front row as the libero steps out. Number 5, Charlotte Richards, putting it into play right in the middle of the court. They go again for the right side attack. This time blocked, but unable to get it back up into fair territory. Charge once again setting back up the serve receive as Peak picks up the point. Scores 3-4. Charge trails by 1 point. Here's a serve for Peak. Charge midcourt, gets underneath it. but unable to get control of it. Peak puts another point on the board, now leading by 2. Charge sets back up to serve the feed. Scores 3-5. There's the serve, putting it over the net. Charge underneath it, sets it over to the outside. The attack puts it cross court, but Peak's able to get underneath it, setting it over to the outside. Charge unable to get underneath it in the backcourt, and it goes off the hands of Charge and out of bounds. Peak putting another point on the board. Scores now 3-6. Charge trailing by 3 points as we step back up to serve the seed. There's the serve. Charge digs it up, pushes it over to the midcourt, pushes it over to the back of Peak territory. Peak sets up. We're able to keep it alive. American center to the right. The attack down the line of the net. Picks up the board. Doesn't kill by number 2, Lillian Cummings. Up at the front of the board and regains that serve. Scores now 4-6. Charge trailing by 2 points. Number 9 subs in for number 7, subbing out. Number 9, Bethany Whitey, will coming out up to the line to serve it up for your Charge. 16 American team. There's the serve. Nice serve, but Peak right underneath it. Going for the outside attack. Charge keeps it in the backcourt to the center. Center goes to their own outside for the attack cross court. Peak once again trying to keep it alive, but they knock it to nobody. And Charge puts the point on the board by the unforced error of Peak. Charge now just trails by 1 as number 9, Bethany White. Go back up the line to serve it once again. Here's the serve, putting it over the net. Number 9 puts it into play. Peak struggles a little bit but gets underneath it, going for an attack on the right side. Blocked down. Peak keeps it off the floor, though. Once again, pushing it over the net. Charge right there. Setting it up to the middle of the tip. Gets it back into Peak territory, but Peak does not give up and is able to keep it alive. Charge right there. This time for a center dump. But Peak's right there once again to dig it up and get it back to the backcourt of Charge. Charge once again sets over to the outside of the attack down the line, but it's wide. And Peak puts the point on the board. Scores 5-7. Charge trailing by 2 points as he steps back up to serve the seed. And here's the serve. Charge underneath it. Gives it to the center. Center to the right side. They push it over the net. Peak once again going for their own right side attack. Charges backcourt, trying to keep it alive. Keeps it up in the air. Bumps it over into Peak territory. Peak once again going for another attack from the back. This time it hits the hands, and Peak picks up the points and it goes off the hands of Charge and out of bounds. Scores now 5-8. Charge once again trailing by 3 as we step back up to serve the seed. Again, first one to 15 wins this match. Peak's back up at the line. Charge trailing by 3. Here's the serve. Charge pops it up high to the center. Center goes to the right side. It's actually a slide attack from the middle. And then Peak goes for the road attack cross court, but Charge keeps it alive. Peak blocks it down and picks up the point as Charge tries to tip it over the net. Scores now 5-9. Timeout, Charge. Both teams go into their huddles after the timeout concludes. Charge will be set back up to serve the seed. Again, the score is 5-9. Charge trails by 4. And both teams back on the court now. Score is 5-9. Charge set up the serve receive. And Peak putting that ball back into play right now with the serve. Charging backcourt, knocks it up to the center. Center goes over to the outside. The attack pulled off the block. That's number 2, Lillian Cummings, picking up the point right there. She knocked it so hard it bounces off the block and out of bounds. Charge puts the point on the board right there. We'll come back into the line. Number 3 subs in, and number 8 subs out. Again, number 2, Lillian Cummings, serving it up for your Charge. 16 American team. Putting it up in the air, setting it up high. Blocked down at the net, but Peak's able to keep it alive. This time they get it over the block. The Charge is able to keep it alive. Once again, digging it off the net, pushing it over. Peak once again underneath it, pushing it up high, going for the attack. This time they're attacking into the net. Charge put the point on the board. Scores now 7-9. Charge still the lead by 2 as number 2, or Charge trailing by 2 as number 2 steps up to the line to serve it once again. And here's the serve putting it over. That peak right there to receive it, sets to their right side. The attack at the net blocks, but it falls. Charge picks up the point. As they say, it wasn't a block. It bounced off the top of the tape. Charge number 2 coming back up to the line to serve it up. Not a block, though, as Charge picks up the point. They hit it into the peak, hits it into the net that goes out of bounds. Scores 8-9. Charge trails by just 1 as number 2 puts it over the net with the serve, but it falls wide. And Peak puts the point on the board. Number 2 is subbing out now, and number 6 coming in for her place in the back row. And there's the serve by Peak. Back row gets to the center. Center to the outside. The attack blocks back to our side of the net. We go again for that same side. This time down the line of the net. We hit it. Peak once again going for an attack to hit it over in the Charge territory. Charge goes for a backboard attack. That finds the floor in third territory. Number 6 with the kill. That picks up the point right there. Scores 9-10. Charge trails by 1 as number 1 steps out at number 4. The libero comes in her place to serve it up. That's Addison there putting the ball into serve. Peak sets it up wide to get through the block though, and Charge unable to get underneath it. Peak puts another point on the board right there. We'll come back up to the line. Charge once again trails by 2 as we step back up to serve receive. And Peak comes up to the line. Such a close match. Anyone's game. Peak at the line. Charge serve receiving. There's the serve. Charge gets underneath it. Pops it up high to the center. The center dumps it over. Peak struggles, but was called into the net by the up ref. And Peak picks up a point. Charge calls the timeout. Peak picking up a point right there as Charge falls into the net while we try to attack it. Scores now 9-12. Charge trails by 3 as we set up to serve receive after the timeout concludes. There's a serve by Peak. Charge gets it back up to the net. Goes over to the outside. Roll shot over the block. Peak's right there once again. Snipping it back over to Charge territory. Charge keeps it alive. Going to the outside. The attack down the line. Will Peak be able to get it back under control? They are. And bump it back into Charge territory. Charge once again going to the center. Center to the outside. The attack down the line. This time it's wide. And Peak picks up a point and comes back up to the line. Scores 9-13. Charge trails by 4 once again. As we once again set up to serve receive. There's the serve. Peak unable to get underneath it. And Peak puts a point on the board. Charge cannot get underneath it on the serve. Scores now 14-9. Charge trailing by 5 points. Peak only needing 1 to close out this third set. Charge gets underneath that serve. Sets it to the middle. The attack finds the floor in fair territory. That's number 5 with the kill from the middle. Charge still in this match as number 9 steps out and number 7 comes in the front row. And number 10, Lily Wilcox, top of our serving order, back up the line to serve it up. Charge needing 4 points to tie it up. There's the serve, putting it back into play. Peak right there, going for the attack. Blocks back. Charge picks up the point. As they didn't hit the net, wasn't a block. It bounced off the net, and then called for the 4-touch. Charge put the point on the board. Number 10 back up to the line to serve it up. As Charge now only trails by 3, needing 3 to tie it up, and you still have to win it by 2. There's the serve, putting it to the back court. A Peak ace on the serve right before the ball from the other court rolls across. Charge picking up that point. Scores now 12-14. Number 10 back up the line to serve it up. That's Lily Wilcox serving it up after picking up an ace on that last serve. So close right here. Charge needing 2 points to tie it up. Here's the serve, putting it back over to the same place. Peak right there to receive it, going for their own attack. Charge unable to get it back into play. And Peak picks up that final point, closing out that third set. Charge with a valiant effort, but unable to pull the win in that third set. Again, thank you for watching at home. That will be our final match in the gold bracket play. We will know our placement here in a little bit. We'll post it online. Again, thank you for watching, everyone at home, and thank you for being a fan for your Oklahoma Charge 16 American team. Again, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time.